Welcome to Autocar's highlights from the 2013 Frankfurt Motor Show, where we'll begin with the Jaguar C-X17 concept behind me. Now the C-X17, CX-17 as you prefer, sport utility vehicle, officially is still a concept, hence the 23-inch alloy wheels, orange vents and 4 individual chairs in the outlandish interior. But unofficially, the CX-17 previews Jaguar's upcoming range of smaller vehicles. Sized to take on the BMW 3 Series and Audi A4, the range will include saloon, estate and coupe variants, and of course a 4x4 inspired by this to tackle the BMW X3 and Audi Q5. What Jaguar is making most noise about though is the fact that these cars will all be underpinned by a new generation aluminium platform, which it hopes will make its cars lighter and stiffer than the competition's. We'll find out if that's true when the cars go on sale in 2 years' time. This is the fastest ever variant of Lamborghini's Gallardo, and probably the last one too. It's called the Squadra Corsa, named after Lamborghini's recently established race division. The car, although road legal, takes many of its cues from the Super Trofeo Gallardo race car, including its 562 horsepower output and extensive use of carbon fibre. That sees it weigh 70 kilograms less than the usual road car. It signifies a last hurrah for the Gallardo, whose replacement we should see next year. Another concept then, this is the Subaru WRX Concept, getting its first showing in Europe after a US unveiling earlier in the year. It seems Subaru has realised the error of its ways in allowing the WRX to slide into a bit of a decline as a performance flagship, and it wants the image boosted again, hence this return to the Impreza's hardcore rally replica roots. Now it's a 4-door, similar in size to the current WRX, but a lot less dowdy to look at, particularly than the 5-door Impreza models. A production version is a given, but it will be a few months before we know whether it will come to the UK. Subaru is hopeful there will be enough demand to make it viable, so lobby your dealer. You don't get too many total surprises at motor shows these days, but with no fanfare ahead of the show, Audi's Nanuk concept is one of them. If you think it looks a little familiar, that's probably because it is. It's a follow-up to the Ital-designed Giugiaro Parcours, which you might remember was crashed at this year's Goodwood Festival of Speed. But where the Parcours had a Lamborghini Gallardo engine in its middle, the Audi Nanuk gets a newly developed 5-litre TDI engine mounted longitudinally behind the cockpit, making a healthy 544 horsepower and, wait for it, 737 pounds-foot of torque. Now, this is one of those concepts that will not make production, but some of the design touches will find their way onto future Audis, and it does get us more used to the idea of a sports car that is as happy off-road as it is on it. Does it look like a Greyhound to you? Because that's what Opel says this Monza concept was inspired by. It's got very taut surfaces, it looks a bit grey and muscly, but key to it all is the fact that the front end styling is reminiscent of what you will see on Opels and Vauxhalls in the years to come. No, it won't be built, but just enjoy the looks. Ferrari's special variants of its V8 supercars are some of the most rewarding driver's cars on the planet. We still get a bit tingly when we think about the 430 Scuderia, and here is the 458 given the Scuderia treatment, the 458 Speciale. It's claimed to be around 80 kilos lighter than standard, yet its 4.5 litre V8 makes an additional 30 brake horsepower or so, bringing total power to 597 horses. The numbers: 0 to 62 miles an hour in 3 seconds dead, and a lap time around Ferrari's Fiorano circuit, a second and a half quicker than a standard 458. No prices yet, but in Britain expect it to cost 210 grand. BMW's i8 has appeared in production form, but it retains the outlandish looks and technology of the concepts we've seen to date. The i8's rear wheels are powered by a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine making 228 horsepower, while its front wheels are driven by a 128 horsepower electric motor that, operating alone, give the i8 a range of 22 miles on electric power. Now in total that's 356 brake horsepower, which might not sound like a great deal, but bear in mind the whole structure is aluminium and carbon fibre, and the car is therefore remarkably light. BMW claims the i8 can reach 62 miles an hour from rest in 4.4 seconds, and that it can hit 155 miles an hour using the petrol engine alone. It's easier to sell further down market than it is to move up market. Bentley would sell plenty of cars at £50,000, and Kia would not at £200,000, for example, which gives mainstream manufacturers a dilemma when they're building cars that cost the same to make as those from a premium car maker, but which must be sold for less. Ford's solution is Vignale, a separate sub-brand that offers an upscale product and ownership experience for a section of time-poor buyers who want to be made to feel special through dedicated teams at selected Ford dealerships. Think of it as a kind of concierge experience with interior trim levels appropriately higher on the cars themselves. Vignale will be launched first when the next generation Mondeo goes on sale in 2015 before being rolled out across other models. 3 years ago, Audi showed a Quattro concept that was powered by a 5-cylinder turbo engine and weighed just 1,300 kilos. Now the Sport Quattro concept has followed that up, but it's very different other than in name and appearance. First, the bad news, the weight is up to 1,850 kilograms. But, swings and roundabouts, the good news is that it now has 690 horsepower. Some 550 of that is provided by a 4-litre V8 twin-turbo petrol engine, with the rest accounted for by electric motor. And this car is no flight of fancy. It's intended to preview a production model that will sit above the R8 at the top of Audi's range. Recently, coupe versions of the S-Class luxury saloon have been called CL, and let's face it, you wouldn't class them as visually exciting. That's set to change though with the coupe variant of the new generation S-Class, previewed by this concept. Mercedes is aiming for a sleeker, far more muscular appearance this time around, making it a car that can genuinely rival the Bentley Continental GT. We'll most likely see the final production version next March before the car eventually goes on sale in 2015. And here is a final production variant of the 918 Spyder, Porsche's 214 mile an hour, 875 horsepower hypercar. We pretty much knew how it would look and most of the production details, but here are the confirmed highlights. 599 horsepower from a naturally aspirated 4.6 litre V8, supplemented by 2 electric motors, one at the front, one at the rear, contributing to a total of 875 horses. Weight is 1,630 kilos, and one more number was confirmed today, the obligatory Nürburgring lap time of 6 minutes and 57 seconds. And finally, it would not be Frankfurt without something deliciously ludicrous, and from Brabus, this is it, the B63S. You remember AMG's 6-wheel G-Wagon? Well, this is Brabus's tweaked up version, whose 5.5 litre twin-turbo V8 has been persuaded to produce 690 horsepower and a mammoth 708 pounds-foot of torque. This, however, is still a big car, so 0 to 62 miles an hour takes 7.4 seconds, and the top speed is sensibly limited to 100 miles an hour.